Hey, you guys stop doing that.
I don't know, maybe.
Hey, who's smoking that stuff?
I know we can get it. My hand open. How you doing? Good. Oh, you were? I passed it now. That makes you guys pretty old. Your mother never got over 39, did she? No, I'm not. Well, Jennifer and her boyfriend bought a house up in Watertown. I guess they're married. She told me she wasn't going to wait until she was 40 years old. Jenny, you're going to have kids. When you're 25, you're going to sure like it. And then she just told me about a year ago. She said, if I was going to travel, I was 35 years old.
Yeah, the recording sound. I can hear you. I don't think I got the first part because you gotta hold the button. It's not one of those ones you press it to the stage.
Let me see. Here, turn it around. So
yeah, wait, Ben.
That's funny. I don't want to. Yes, but look, we can see her. Make it bigger, Raph.
And that's my youngest one here.
Ben, show me your teeth. see now.
Are you gonna say it? Happy retirement, Grandpa.
Whose pink stuff is that?
Yours. Oh, this?
Yeah.
It's Kathy's.
I find you anywhere.
A little bit lower. Can everybody hear me?
You can take the thing off.
Can I? Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. Here we go. A tribute to Jim. After 46 years working at Howells, Jim deserves some recognition for at 17 years of age that he was when he took on this position. He was fresh out of school, an ambitious young lad, and just a minute, future at Howells sure didn't seem bad. His apprenticeship lasted 5 years to the day, which meant that he would get a nice raise in his pay. At Vine and McNabb, he was destined to stay, but Caledonia was home for this lad. So commuting to work every day of his life, a new car was a must to be had. Going back to his youth, he met Eric Small, who he'd see every day at the store. He gave Jim a trumpet and taught him to play, and who could ask for anything more. Jim took to the trumpet and wasn't so too long, soon was playing in bands all around. He played for weddings and concerts galore, and sure got a wonderful sound. Now back in the 50s, he formed his own band. The music they played was called swing. The dance floor was crowded with couples danced by. They sure had a fling. By the time he had married the girl of his dreams, he met in the high school band. With him on the trumpet and her on the sax, their playing was nothing but grand. And the Air Force became part of the young fellow's past. In the concert band he did play. At rehearsals and dances and even parades, he also received a nice pay. I'm nearly done. He received his commission at age 25. Flying Officer Philip was he. When George Hochelander retired, Jim took on the band and conducted it quite naturally. He also had time for the Tiger Cat Band and performed at each Hamilton game. With uniforms colored in yellow and black, the crowds, they would all go insane, or just go insane. By the time he was 30, 4 daughters he had. What sweet little darlings they were. They were proud of their dad, so he showed them all off at most every function he'd play. Getting back to Howelitho, where he worked every day, a stripper was the name of his trade. With Cecil Stevens as foreman at Vine and McNabb, many friends he had already made. In the 70s, our family was Burlington bound. A new plant was desperately needed. It wasn't too long till a new one was built on Mainway, and Mainway they finally succeeded. Ron Kerr, Bill Jerome, and Don Cathcart were there. He had worked for a very long time. Now Warren and Tom and Tony and Walt do their best to keep him in line. Mike Phillips and Jim, they work side by side. And Mike drove from Brantford each day. When 3 o'clock came and out the door they would come, like weary old men in dismay. In closing, we want to thank you all here for a night Jim will never forget. Saying goodbye to a wonderful job and the precious dear friends he has met. Goodbye and good luck to all of us here, all of you here. May Santa be good to you all. Please drop by and see us whenever you can. And if you can't, just give us a call. Thank you. God bless.
Thanks, Mom. That was really good. She put a lot of work into that. There's 4 girls. Everybody pretty well knows that by now. And one of us is moved out to Vancouver, so she's unable to be with us tonight. But she is thinking about Dad tonight and wishing she was here. And she sent a message, which Barbie is going to read from Lori, the sister that's out west.
Lori, she called me this week and said she had this letter she wanted me to read tonight. And I said, well, can I read it first so that I don't stumble over it? And she said no. So if I stumble over it or I can't read her writing, I apologize ahead of time. I was awakened this morning at 7 o'clock by Purolator getting this. Okay, here goes. I feel like you can't hear me. Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. Can you hear me now? Okay. Dear Dad, this is just a note to congratulate you on retirement. As you can well imagine, we are sorry we cannot be there to celebrate with you on this joyous occasion. Although we may be 3,000 miles apart, we hope with this letter we can also share in your special evening. It is doubtful that Howell Packaging fully realizes the great employee and great person they are losing in you. Your dedication to your job over 40-some-odd years has been unsurpassed. It is also very rare these days for someone to have stayed at the same job for that long. It is a milestone in itself for which you must be proud. Well, we are proud of you too. You have had so many accomplishments in your life with your work and your music, and even when there were obstacles in your way, you overcame them with grace. You have worked so hard in your life and raised 4 wonderful daughters, which I am sure was not an easy task. Just ask Ken, that's her husband. They're busy raising 3 wonderful daughters. I am sure you asked yourself, why me, on several occasions as we were growing up. You and Mom did the very best you could to give us a good life, and for that I am personally grateful. Oh, I'm going to get tears soon. Even with adversities we have faced in our adult lives, you have been there to support us without judgment. I, for one, know that I could count on you if I needed you. Now it is time to kick back and enjoy life. I hope you will try to slow down a bit and concentrate on having a good time with Mom, your friends and family. I also hope traveling is in your foreseeable future, maybe somewhere like Vancouver. That would be nice. Well, as I sit here and reflect upon my life, I come away knowing that one of your best traits is your kindness. You have taught me there is nothing wrong with being nice to people. I am nice. I am sure all you agree that everyone likes Jim Phillip, and we are all better off having known you. In closing, I would just like to say I wish you a long, healthy life to be able to pursue all your hopes and dreams for the future. May your retirement be all that you have hoped for. I'm truly proud to be your daughter, and I love you with all my heart. Love forever, Lori.
kiss and a hug, and I stepped on your foot, too.
I'll put this somewhere.
Thanks, Barb. I think Lori really summed it up when she talked about Dad as a person, and I guess the people that are here have known him for a long time. And, well, I've known him all my life, too. And he's been a great dad. He's a beautiful human being. A real power of example. Probably one of the kindest, nicest, most committed people I know. He's stuck with the family through thick and thin. He's a very courageous person. He's made huge lifestyle changes. And I have nothing but admiration and respect for you, Dad. And I'm really proud of you tonight. And congratulations on your retirement. Somebody that's known Dad for many years and gotten into all kinds of trouble with him and had shared beautiful times and rough times and seen him through thick and thin is Keith Small. And he's like part of our family. He's going to say a few words now. Keith.
It's a short poem. There's always a time. There's a time to be born and a time to die. A time to laugh and a time to cry. A time to run and a time to go slow. A time to stop and a time to go. And a time to begin and a time to quit. And something tells me that this is it. I can't take credit for that, maybe not, but I'm from Caledonia. Actually, I'm from Blackheath now, and but I still consider myself a Caledonia boy. And many years ago now, as Nancy said, that man, I spent a lot of time in that Phillip house when I was a kid. And I look back, and I have a neighbor boy that's coming over to my place right now, and I just can't get rid of him. And I think, what must have been like for Jim and Carol when I was that age? Because I was. From the time I was about 15 to the time I was about 21, I was just there all the time. I would drop in for 5 minutes, go away, come back another couple of hours and drop in. And then in my young and foolish days, maybe I'm old and foolish now, then sometimes I might drop in about 3 o'clock in the morning. But however, I like to forget those days. But for you fellas that work for Jim, or work with Jim, I should say, I'm the guy that maybe Jim was telling you that he knew all these jokes. I don't know if he passed those jokes on, but I'm the guy that can take credit for those jokes. The Haldimand Board of Education used to think I was phoning a different board. I wasn't at all. I was phoning Jim to tell him, I just can't wait till next time I see you in your job. I've got to tell you this joke today. And that reminds me of a joke. And I don't know whether I should tell it or not, but I'm going to. It's really not that bad. I got it off the internet, so... Anyhow, Jim, no, it's really not that bad. But before I do that, I have to thank Jimmy for one thing. I remember I was going to Teachers College, and I just hated Teachers College. And I phoned Jimmy up and said, have you got a job? Can you find me a job? Well, he came back and said, no, I can't find you a job, and I'm very grateful for that because he had to put 46.5 years in. I only had to put 34 in, so I'm very pleased about that one. But anyhow, Jim was applying for the job at, I guess, Howells, as was back then, and the boss said to him, he says, well, look, he says, I've got to print up these cartons, but he says, I would never endorse a product unless I was, you know, make sure it was all right. And Jim says, well, what is it? He was young and impressionable. He says, well, he says, it's spray bombs for bug spray. Jim says, well, okay. And the boss says, there's only one thing you got to do. He says, what's that? He says, well, he says, I want you to go out to my farm, he says, and I'm going to strip you down naked, and I'm going to tie you to a post out there and spray you with bug spray. And if you don't have any bites in the morning, then you've got the job. Okay, so being about 18 or 19, he says, yeah, I'll go for that. So the next morning, the boss comes out, and there's not a bite on him, not a bite. And Jim says, do I got the job? And the boss says, oh, yeah. He says, you've got the job. And he says, Jim says, or the boss says, boy, you sure look worn and haggard. Jim says, I know, but he says, doesn't that calf have a mother? See, it wasn't, Linda, it really wasn't that bad. I can tell you, you know those real good ones? I'm not telling any of those ones tonight. Anyhow, as I say, Jimmy and I still get together. We see him on jobs with our good friend Harry Wallers, who's here tonight, and it's always wonderful to see him and sit beside him and play with him. And I really must say that anything I've learned musically, I've learned from Jimmy, and he's been the power example for me. And I'm going to quit because I've talked enough, and that's, if I say anything more, then I'll get into one of those jokes, and then I will be in trouble when I got home. And ending, this is called Faith, Hope, and Love. Faith, hope, and love are three charms, but each is much more. They are three treasures. Got something mixed up there. However, more priceless than gold. For if you possess them, your riches untold. For with faith to believe what your eyes cannot see, and hope to look forward to new joy yet to be, and love to transform the most commonplace into beauty and kindness and goodness and grace. There's nothing too much to accomplish or do, for with faith, hope, and love to carry you through, your life in retirement will be full and complete. For with faith, hope, and love, the bitter turns sweet, for all earthly joys and heaven's joys too belong to God's children who are faithful and true. Congratulations, Jimmy. I hope you have a wonderful retirement, and we've got to see more of each other. Thank you.
Thanks, Keith.
Mike.
Well wishes.
I guess since I'm a daughter, I should say something. Except he's not listening. As usual, because I'm the fourth. Dad, I just want to say congratulations in your retirement. You're the best dad, and I love you. Thanks.
Well, I haven't made a speech, or brought a speech. Anybody, can you hear me? Yeah. I just had my 80th birthday. And Jim's mother was my sister. And I was 16 when Jimmy was born. So he's always been my first child. I have 3 others now, and I've been always proud of our Jim and his endeavors, particularly with his music. I could spot that trumpet player anywhere he was playing. I could tell that was Jim, whether I could see him or not. So I'm really pleased to be here, Jim. And hopefully you have a good retirement. Thank you very much.
Oh.
And I'm a dear friend of Jimmy there. Jimmy and I go back quite a ways. I wouldn't wonder, it's probably about 20 years that I've known Jim. And got to know Jim, and come to find out that he's related to my good wife Iva there, that he's sitting beside. And they got reminiscing and Caledonia bit and so on. And Kelly got invited up to Jim's place there, and we got playing music, and we were in the swimming pool, and we got off on a really good start, and we've been close friends ever since. And he's got a wonderful family, and he's worked in the with the cartons and the thing that worked there at was it Little Howell, is it?
Yeah.
I worked at Bonner and Bemis, so we had lots of things to talk about, the printing presses, etc., and so on. So the journey was quite substantial in those lines, and we've been journeying ever since. I'm retired, and Jimmy now retired, and we're on the payroll, Jim, and by golly, it's not bad, I tell you. Just keep following along, and we'll have many more good years together. Thanks.
Thank you.
I'll introduce myself first because I'm sure some of you don't know who I am, but my name is Harry Warren, and I have an orchestra, and I've had that thing for about 50 years. I hope the lithograph people, I remember Jim when he started with Howell, and when I first met him as a trumpet player, really, he was just a young lad, and he used to drive in from Caledonia and drive the rest of the way from my house, which was on the east end of the mountain, to the Brant Inn. And we worked together in an orchestra called the Gab Morton Orchestra, which Jimmy and my brother Tom and Bob Almus all played in and enjoyed it very much. And Jim was just a young fellow at that time, and I always remember him coming in, and he was wearing a fedora hat, and we found that really strange, this country lad coming in, and my brother Tom and Bob Almus used to ride the blazes out of poor Jimmy. I used to feel sorry for him because I used to say, take it easy on him. But anyway, it was a real challenge of a job for Jim. Gab Morton was a very demanding orchestra leader, and he fitted in well, and of course you all know his, where he participated in playing musical trumpet. I mean, I've shared the stage with him with such fine entertainers as Liberace, Tony Bennett, but I think our greatest thrill of playing all those shows, Jim, had to be those English pantomimes, for which I think were fun shows, not as stressful, but very enjoyable. And Jim became a very good friend of one of the conductors, Clive. And I mean to ask you, Jim, do you ever see or hear from Clive?
No, I haven't. No.
I think Jim went and visited him in England once, didn't you, Jim?
He visited us.
Oh, right. I remember that at your house. Yeah. But our musical background goes back many, many years, and I was thrilled and felt good to be asked to come to Jim's retirement party. He deserves his retirement years, and I give him a few tips on that. Because I've been retired 12 years, and gone is the stress. But I was really pleased that Carol thought enough to invite me. We shared some happy moments and some sad moments together, and we'll dwell on the happy moments. And I'll tell you this little joke before I leave, because it was one of Gordy Tapp's famous story. And he called me, and he asked me if I could do this Lions Club job up in Port Dover, playing for some strippers. And I was busy and I couldn't do it. But I said, I'd help you get a band. He says, no, I'll be okay. So Gordy did go ahead and get a band, and the story goes, as I hear it, he persuaded this girl who had been out of the business a few years to come up and do her act, which was a striptease act, and I'm going back 20 years. And she's, oh, Gordy, I don't do that anymore. She says, you know, I've been out of the business a lot. He says, you'll never make $200 any easier. He said, you'll only be up there 20, 50 minutes. You can do your thing and then leave. So she goes up. I always remember her name, as Gordy tells me. It was Vera. My apologies to anybody that's named Vera. But anyway, she wasn't up there on stage 10 minutes. And the guys were inebriated, and they were grabbing at her and kissing her and trying to throw on the floor and all this kind of stuff here and that. So she ran off the stage, and Gordy says, oh, geez, Vera, I've got to say I'm sorry the way these guys acted. She says, I have to apologize for the way these guys acted. She said, oh, wasn't that so much, Gordy? But did you hear that friggin' band? So I'll close on that note. And Jimmy and I weren't there. So congratulations on your retirement, Jim, and many happy years. Thank you.
Love you, Grandpa.
And we just wanted to wish you happy retirement, Grandpa.
Thanks to everybody that came up and said a few words. Now we have a little quiz. It's the How Well Do You Know Jim quiz. So the girls are going to pass around some pens and a quiz.
Anywhere, there's talented people.
Can't help but win.
Hey, Jenny.
I don't know how to
Ben.
What's 46 years?
That's the wrong answer, Sean.
That would be...
Hey. What is Jim's favorite kind of music? Ron?
Jazz. Sweet. No.
Is it good? It's good. It's good. Lay it up.
So Batman
We can't. That's why we can't. Sexy sack. Grandma or Grandpa? Grandma. Okay, go ahead. Anybody? Grandma. What would you like to say about Jim? You're his boss, so you get to say something.
No, I can't.
Yes, you can.
Is he gonna get a raise?
Not before he leaves.
He's only got a week to go.
2 weeks out of 8.
Call him next week.
Jim's such a good storyteller. That's our problem.
I know, he is. That's because it's all crap.
Oh, wait, he didn't get that.
No, wait.
Listen.
He's a
Anything to say, Tony? When you
Very good words.
That's better, isn't it?
Look for this. Wait till I
Tony up there.
Tom who?
No, that's Tony.
He's on first.
He's on second. What's on third?
I don't know where it's at. That's Tony up there.
I know that because my mom did you guys read the poem? Anybody read the
Oh, the man with the camera.
Bring me a Diet Coke, Tom.
Give me that. We just want to know if there's anything special you'd like to share with Jim on his retirement for the camera.
Well, we really gonna miss him. I've got a love of jazz the same as Jim has, and I really don't want to lose touch with him. Really enjoyed his music through the years.
Okay, anybody?
And actually the same goes for me because Kath and I have gone into Toronto to hear Jim playing, and that for us was a tremendous experience. We really enjoyed these days when we came and listened to it and made a day of it. So hopefully Jim will still continue to do that.
Thank you.
Settle down, guys. Okay, Rick, you want to share something with Dad?
I'd just like to say congratulations on retirement, Jim.
All the best.
Thank you.
Great knowing you, and still knowing you.
And you?
What was your mother's nickname?
I'm done.
Go away.
Okay, do you guys, ladies, want to share something with Dad?
Want to do this?
Say hi to him on the video.
Oh, you mean on the video?
On the video, share.
Oh, I thought you meant I have to go. I have to go to the bathroom.
Calm yourself. Say hi to Dad.
Hi, Jim. Happy retirement. Great retirement, Jim. You deserve every minute of it.
Okay. You can't see the share something with the video now.
Yes, I'm close.
Okay, get Hans. Share with Dad.
Happy retirement, Jim. Next time I'll marry for money.
Jim, on your retirement. Good luck, Carol.
Jim, I understand that. I hope to understand it soon, within a decade or so. But I'm a grandfather first time. I'll never forget the time she was born, let alone my grandson being born. Hey, buddy.
I beat you to that one.
I know that.
Jim, I wish you all the best on your retirement and good health and lots of fun. Lots of travel.
Thank you.
What?
Share it with Dad on the camera.
Share with Dad on the camera. Jeez. You better shut that off for me. I never thought about it.
Okay, so think about it, and then he'll come back. Come back to him. We're doing this.
Is it on? Hi, Dad. Happy retirement. I'm here with Big Ben, the hockey player.
Oh, him?
Tell Grandpa how many many goals you got this year? 4. 4 goals. Yeah. Awesome.
We're taking up the questions now.
Can I put this over here?
How well do you know Jim? What's Jim's full name?
My full name is James Allen Phillip.
Where was Jim born?
I was born in a farmhouse in Caledonia.
What's Jim's birthday?
My birthday is January the 19th, 1936.
What were Jim's parents' names?
My father's name was Jim Phillip. My mother's name was Roberta Phillip.
Ruby.
Well, Ruby, it was a short form for Roberta.
What high school did Jim go to?
Well, I went 3 years to Central in Hamilton, 1 year in Caledonia.
What instrument does Jim play?
Trumpet.
What year did Jim start at Howell?
I started at Howells on June the 23rd, 1953.
Where was Howells located when he started?
It was on the corner of Vine and McNabb in Hamilton.
How many children does Jim have?
I have 4.
Name them.
Oh boy. Nancy Jane, Barbara Jean, Laurie Joan, and Catherine June.
Hey, good for you. How old are we?
How many grandchildren does Jim have?
12.
Well, I thought it was 13. Am I right?
Joel doesn't count. He's a great grandchild.
Yeah, but isn't there 13 anyway?
12.
Okay, I guess it's 12.
Jim has a great grandson. What is his name?
My great-grandson's name is Joel.
What is Jim's favorite kind of music?
Jazz.
Name 2 bands, orchestras
Name 2 bands or orchestras Jim currently plays in regularly.
Yeah. Okay. Harry Waller is one. I guess the other one would be Carl Hamilton. There are others though. John Hood, Bill Belabuca, Herb Heldman. Hey?
No?
Oh, Lloyd Peach, yeah. Lloyd Peach, Harold DeMarrow.
Name a favorite movie of Jim's.
Well, I really enjoy watching the Blues Brothers. What's that? Oh yeah, but that's not.
What huge lifestyle change did Jim make 20?
How did I change 20 years ago? Well, I guess I got sober. She said, did you stop drinking though?
Where did Jim build his first home?
No, the first home we built was in Hamilton, West 22nd Street.
Name one of Jim's favorite bands.
Well, I guess the Woody Herman Band.
What instrument did Carol play?
Carol played the saxophone.
Where did Jim meet Carol?
In the band room at high school.
What were Jim and Carol's nicknames in high school?
What were Jim and Carol's nicknames? I used to call her Saxy because she was oversaxed.
You were Hot Lips Philip.
Oh, I was Hot Lips Philip, that's right.
What were you, Jim?
Where was Jim playing professionally at the age of 15?
At the age of 15, we were playing at the Brand Inn.
Name 4 stars Jim has shared the stage with.
Oh, well, yeah, I played for Celine Dion. Played for Liberace, Mel Torme. Who?
Juliet Prowse.
Juliet Prowse, Rock Hudson, Karen Kane, yes. Johnny Mathis, several times I played for Johnny Mathis, yeah. Tom Jones, Tony Bennett.